Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another round of the Blitz World Series.
Another round, back at it here. We got Marko in yellow fighting out of Finland on the right. We got Luke in red fighting out of the US of A on the left. To get here, yeah, they won a couple good matches. Marko beat Frank. For those of you who saw it, it was kind of a blowout. Frank, obviously OG top player in the world, but wasn't really familiar with the map. He filled in last second for Kian, who had gotten sick. So Marko kind of breezed through Frank to get here. Luke did beat Jaz to get here. And Jaz obviously had a lot of reps on this map. Jaz is a top player, very good blitz player. So Luke did prove himself with that win, but Luke's already proven himself before that. Came on the blitz scene a couple months back now, and yeah, has won some really good matches. Beat a lot of top players. I know he's taking this tournament seriously, so we'll see how this goes. Luke out with the early rhinos. Marko goes early oil, and Marko with no rhino out now. So Luke has 2 rhinos. Gonna try to ult this war factory. Yeah, trading 2 rhinos for a war factory here would be a good exchange for him if he can get it. Not able to get the war factory though. So now let's see what we got going on. And Luke's still pumping the rhinos. Nice rhino lead, and Luke does build down to that power plant. So Luke now going to be able to take this power plant. As we've talked about with Soviet before, helps kind of kickstart not having to build that second power plant. As you see, Marko had to build a second power plant, slowing himself down a little bit. Let's see if Luke gets an engineer. Ooh, forward barracks now. So second barracks for Luke. Luke's going to take that power plant and roll out with a second war factory right away. And nice little tank lead here for Luke. 3 to, what do we got? 3 to, not much of a tank lead. Marko was able to catch up. It's interesting. I wonder if Luke's money was bottoming out or what happened there. Luke, you lose a few tanks in that early engagement. So about even, but Luke on his second war factory. Marko pumping the oil. And Marko out with the Desos to slow down Luke's, rhino advantage here. Luke going to bring some drones in. Interesting, trying to counter those Desos, obviously. Drones and tanks don't do a lot on this map because the crater is able to counter. Brings the drones in. Ooh, tries to target the Desos but does not get them. Oh, and Luke loses this tank exchange handedly. Not good for Luke here. And now as Marko dives in with his rhinos, and that's a player like Marko. Obviously, Marko considered to be the GOAT in some circles. One of the best players in the world, certainly right now, and has been for some time. He plays on a razor thin edge. You think, oh, what's Marko doing here? It's like, Marko can do that. Like, yeah, Luke came in with those rhinos, but Marko knew he was going to survive. Knew he was going to push through. Yeah, very calculated, very strong player. So Luke pushing this expansion on the bottom side, but doesn't really have the tanks to support it. Luke tries to go topside for some sort of kind of wacky base trade here, but he's just kind of severely out-tanked. And Marko now on 3 war factories, so the situation is going to go from bad to worse for Luke very quickly here. Yeah, and so Luke unfortunately is building Desos out of his barracks on the very right. Obviously, he wants those Desos to be defending his base. So now that Deso comes out of the forward barracks. A little too late, though. The Desos could have helped, but like we talked about, a player like Marko would have been able to work around him anyway. Nice little tank lead here from Marko. Marko might be looking to try to bounce into the crater and heal up here. Ooh, and Luke's going to lose his last few rhinos attacking those Desos in the center. Luke tries to get in the crater. Not going to work. Yeah, and Marko not going in the crater to heal up. He could here. He's got a lot of bruised tanks in that group. Luke just scrapping along here. These early morning matches, Luke is in mountain time, so this is 8 a.m. for him. Early morning matches, first point, even if you're down, string it out, make the other guy work for it. Use it as an opportunity to warm up, get all of your mistakes and misclicks out of the way early. It is best of 9. We've got a long series ahead of us. Long series ahead of us. Kirov out now from Marko. Yeah, Luke just kind of forced to spam the Desos here if he wants to slow down the bleeding. Yeah, in Jaws and Luke's match, I think the first point, Luke was in a similar position as this, and Jaws said, "Quit or I will sit back and build a nuke." And Luke said, "LOL, I'm just getting warmed up." And I think that's what we're seeing here again. Luke just taking this time to warm himself up a little bit, get things rolling. Yeah, and Marco's got the AFK cure up. All right, so Marco does take that one home. First point on the board for Marco as he wins that Soviet versus Soviet matchup. Not super surprising. Marco OP Soviet player. I think that's the matchup where Luke is expected to have the most difficult time. So let's move on to Allied versus Allied now. See if Luke can even things out a little bit. Luke came out strong. That opening was nice, but like we talked about, a player like Marco, he understands the build order and the economy. Even though he is relatively new to Blitz, you know, it was just all, we were kind of like, oh my God, there's tanks coming. Marco doesn't have tanks. Is he in trouble? And it's like, no, Marco's not in trouble because Marco calculated this. He knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't push the early rhinos. He instead established himself with a nice economy and was able to easily resist Luke's early aggression and then pull ahead. So here we go again, Allied versus Allied. Wow, both players with almost identical builds. That's funny on a map that can go so many different directions. So it looks like, wow, and both players with a few GIs. It looks like we got Marco. So again, Marco's in yellow on the left. Marco's got some more GIs. And the GI rush on this map, we've seen it time and time again, and the question is, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to counter the GIs? You've got to assume they're going to come. It's so important to get that early scout so you see it coming, but even if you don't get the scout, you got to assume it's going to come. And, yeah, what's the plan? Ooh, a Grizzly for two GIs. Don't love that. Root RA2 with the raid. Yeah, alright, so now this will be interesting. So now Luke's going to take that power plant again. He got it last game as well. I think Marco's just going to hop in and maybe try to destroy it. It's an allied power plant. It's not huge, but, you know, oil derricks do take power. So after your third oil, fourth oil, you do have to build another power plant. Yeah, your third oil, you have to build another power plant. So if you get that, if you take over the power plant, it saves you a little bit. But, all right, first little engagement here. Marco still has his pillbox. Luke, Marco's still pumping the pillboxes. Is Luke broke? Luke's about broke. So Luke's not maintaining his frontline defenses there. Marco gets ahead significantly on the pillboxes. Luke does get a pillbox up before he loses that power plant. Ooh, it'd be nice to save that pillbox if he could. So does save that pillbox. So Marco out now. Marco with the first AFC, and Marco's going to bring a Rocky out. Luke doesn't have any anti-air at the moment. Needs to get an IFV out. Luke with his own Rocky now. So Luke out now with a sniper to counter those GIs. I like that. Luke looking pretty nice right now. But Luke, he needs to get some anti-air in this. Wait, Luke never built anti-air? Where's the anti-air? God, you can't just try to... He doesn't have enough Rockies. Doesn't have enough Rockies to counter head on. Wow, ooh, snipes, trades an eagle for an eagle. Okay, nice. Okay, so now Luke out with the IVs. And Luke's economy is in shambles, and this is not something we normally see from him. He's usually a very, very heavy economy blitz player. He is on 7 oils, so with Allied, you know, your economy is that much more difficult to manage because you have so many different things you want to buy. He's trying to build Eagles and Rockies and tanks all at the same time. His economy's paying the price. Brings those IFVs right on the edge. Ooh, and Marco's going to lose a lot of Rockies here. Yeah, Marco loses a lot of Rockies. And I like how Luke is trying to play the top side a little bit, trying to play off the crater, trying to sneak some heals in during the battle, which is always nice. Again, that crater does heal air units as well. So the Rockies in the air there is nice. And Marco doesn't have any anti-air in this group, so if Luke can pull ahead on the Rocky battle, Luke not able to pull ahead there, falls behind on the Rocky battle. And Luke now again with no IFVs, no anti-air. And Marko on Battle Lab Tech, these Mirages going to easily melt these Grizzlies if Luke does not find a counter very, very quickly. And Marko's economy, my God, Marko on 10K right now. Oh my goodness gracious. So Luke gets behind, going to snipe that. Battle Lab? No, Battle Lab AFC, yep. So Luke does take the Battle Lab, going to slow down the Mirages for the moment. The problem is he's already significantly behind on Mirages. Yeah, Marko 12K is very scary right now, but it also means that Marko's not staying as busy as Luke. Luke now has 2 AFCs and 6 Eagles. I like this from Luke. He's behind on the ground battle, so he's looking downfield, try to do something creative. Snipes a power plant? Oh, he tried to click that oil. That actually could have completely swung the game. So Luke just misclicked and sniped a power plant instead of this oil. Marko built an oil right next to his MCV. If Luke would have hit this oil, it would have taken the MCV with it. That could have... Luke's still in a very tight spot, but that could have been huge. That was really unfortunate. Oh, and again, kind of blunders the Eagles again. Loses 5 for an AFC. I'm not sure. This oil Derek is so juicy. I'm not sure why he's not hitting it. Alright, so now Luke on Battle Lab Tech himself, getting some Prism Tanks in the battle. And Luke has a nice defensive advantage here. Marko's not going to push right at the moment. Oh, those Prism Towers. As I say that, Marko does push. So Luke's going to have to dive with his Rockies on these Prism Tanks. Targets the IFVs now. And Luke's able to take out those... Oh, Marko picks up the Elite IFV. Huge. Big turn of events there. Luke making a nice little push with his Prism Tanks. And now out with the Naval Yard from Luke. And I love this from Luke. He's putting on a nice show for us. Obviously, you guys all know battling someone like Marko is never fun. And Luke's making it happen. So Luke does get in there and snipe that Elite IFV. So now Luke's going to push with his Rockies. Marko doesn't have any anti-air in this group. So Luke's now pushing with his Rockies. Pushing with his Rockies. He needs to pick some valuable targets here. Probably take the Prism Tanks. And Luke out now with the aircraft carrier. Luke does have an aircraft carrier in the water now. 2 aircraft carriers for Luke. Oh my God. Eagles coming out. So the Eagles... Ooh, I would have liked to have seen the Eagles snipe the Prism Towers. And Luke... Oh, why doesn't Luke push with his Rockies right now? He has to take out those Prism Tanks. Those Prism Tanks are destroying his aircraft carriers. Oh, but Luke comes in with his own army. And Luke's army's looking significantly bigger right now. So Luke's able... Maybe just baiting Marko a little bit to take those aircraft carriers. And now Luke pushing in, putting those Grizzlies out in front. Pro move, keeping the Prisms back, keeping their range. Marko still has some nice group amount of Mirages here doing work. But Luke pulls ahead on the ground battle. Luke with no anti-air, though. Luke with no anti-air in this group. Luke forced to pull back. He does have some Patriot missiles. Luke has a lot of AFK Rockies right now. I'm not sure what those guys are doing. And Luke's economy now also flush. And you see Marko at 30K. 30K is not good in Blitz. It means you're not building on all 4 tabs. As we move into the late game right now, you need to be building on all 4 tabs. The player who's able to do that is going to pull ahead here. So now Luke... Luke's got a nice army. Marko's spamming straight Prism Tanks right now, and Luke needs to be very careful. They have massive range. Luke needs to be looking about trying to get his Rockies into support. I think Luke is a bit distracted managing his Navy right now, and as I say that, it makes perfect sense because he has 6 aircraft carriers, and Marko calls GG. Oh my God. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And Luke takes that one and snatches that one from the jaws of defeat, realistically. Because, you know, Luke on paper was behind for a long time there. Wow, that was absolutely amazing. Juan, thanks for the follow, buddy. Appreciate it. So, yeah, a very interesting play. And I think if you went back and you watched battle by battle, Marko started to fall behind, just not really being as used to Blitz. Like we've talked about, in Blitz, as we move in mid-late game, if your economy is running correctly, you need to be building on all 4 tabs, spamming nonsense units everywhere, continuously building, and that's not really traditional Red Alert 2. Traditional Red Alert 2, there's more decision-making, even mid and late game, with your economy. There's always the opportunity cost. If I build this, I can't build that, you know, or I can't afford that. And I think Marko just maybe was a little bit less used to that. He was kind of focused on the battles and on the macro behind enemy lines, behind his lines. He was just falling a little bit behind on development, and Luke was able to really spend his bankroll a little bit better, push that Navy, continuously be spamming those Eagles and the Rockies, and ultimately was able just to kind of overwhelm Marko, although Marko obviously was fighting amazingly. That was an incredible point. Absolute treat. All right, so now we have Soviet versus Allied, and Luke's a tough Allied Blitz player. We saw him last game. Couple goofy mistakes Luke made with those Eagles. 6 Eagles will take out an Oil Derrick, and Marko, this is very concerning. Building Oil Derricks like this, right next to your MCV, is very concerning, especially against an Allied player. So Allied versus Soviet here. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Allied players looking to delay a little bit, try to get into the mid game. As the tech comes out, they pull ahead. Obviously, early Rhino battles and stuff can be difficult. So Luke has a sniper IFV to counter the conscripts and a group of grizzlies. We call this the Frankenstein defense. Frankenstein defense against rhinos is just spamming straight grizzlies and trying to out-tank them. It's a very difficult strategy as the Allied player. There's many different ways to try to counter the rhinos. Spamming straight plastics and trying to do it head-on is one of the more difficult ways, but with proper micro, it can be done. Against a player like Marko, it's scary and concerning, but we'll see what Luke has up his sleeve. There are obviously other ways to defend. Luke could be playing more passively. He could be trying to build defensive structures. You see Luke has no proactive defensive structures. Yeah, that's the Frankenstein for you. Straight grizzlies versus rhinos. Try to maybe get some fodder in the mix and see what happens. And as I say that, here we go. Here we go, first little engagement here. Luke does have a couple Rockies, not doing much damage here. Would have been nice if the Rockies could have got some more chip damage. The GIs come in right in time. Well, a little bit late, actually. And now Marko keys to the kingdom behind enemy lines. No proactive defenses. Luke in a very tough spot. Marko does pull out now. And you see Luke really prioritizing controlling the center, controlling that crater, being able to get in there and heal up his units. He's had that center control nicely. And so Marko's going to go flat cannons instead of flak tracks. I like that as a Soviet player, especially if you think you're going to be moving into the mid game against an Allied player. You got to expect the Eagles to be harassing you for a long time. So it does make sense. It makes sense to flat cannon up early and just kind of try to shut down the Eagles. So Marko, you know, that window of opportunity may have been there, and Marko pulled back that attack, and I'm not sure, you know, maybe he could have got something more done there. Instead, he's comfortable building up his rhino numbers. You see with a lot of fodder in the group now. Luke also with a lot of fodder, but Luke is on Battle Lab tech now. So Luke with his Battle Lab out. Luke trying to control that power plant. Oh, Luke gonna go BS. So BF's out now for Luke. And Marko might see the Battle Lab here and think, all right, now's the time to go. So Marko's now going to push in here. Battling, not clicking the buildings. Gonna go after the tanks. Yeah, and Luke without much proactive defenses. Paradrop a little late to the party here. And that's a lot of rhinos and not a lot of defenses. And Marko rolling through here. Yeah, and the Frankenstein defense. Straight Grizzlies versus Rhinos, it's very tough. There's some turtle strategies that work a little bit better. Well, it depends. I mean, it can work. It can work. Against a player like Marko, Soviet versus Allied, even top players running straight Grizzlies against him are going to have a very difficult time. So, anyway, you know, with Blitz, obviously we're cycling through the factions. Each player is has to expect to do the factions and have a plan for it. And a player like Luke is going to have a plan coming into this game. So he understood the matchup, he understood the odds, and he wanted to go straight Grizzlies against Rhinos there, and it didn't pay off. So now we do switch over to Luke with Soviet, Marko with Allied. Kian in the house. Kian, the second human being to complete Snark's tower defense on Yuri mode. Did it the other day. Congratulations, Kian. Actually, I think Jaws just did it as well. So now there's 3 human beings. Jaws, Snark, and Kian who have done the tower defense on Yuri. Snark, you're here? Jaws with the raid. Thanks, Jaws. Snark will get you in after the next point, man. You've missed a lot of action, buddy. You missed some good action here. Oh, I got the scoreboard wrong. Scoreboard wrong. All right, 2-1. All right, so now we do have Luke now with Soviet, Marko with Allied. Yeah, so we'll see here. Again, Luke has favored every point going towards that power plant. And it's hard to say on this map. Obviously, there's different strategies. It has been interesting to kind of watch the meta develop. We've gone from everyone pushing airport to everyone pushing the power plant, and now most people just ignore the tech. Honestly, BO9 Valentino. Valentino, if only there was some text on the screen that told you the series every single time I streamed. I'm just kidding. All the info's on the right side of the screen. You guys know I'm looking out for you, man. I want you guys to have all the information. All right, here we go. And Luke with a massive oil build. 5 oils stretch out to that power plant. He gets the power plant. Now Luke out with the radar and going to start spamming another war factory and just going to bring straight rhinos. No anti-air in the crater. Oh my god. I was like, Luke might just chill in that crater. I don't think one Rocky could kill a rhino if you're in the crater. Flat cannons or flat tracks? Oh, nothing. Luke's just going no anti... Oh, flat cannon. Flat cannon behind the radar now. Oh, but Marko with the... Kian, thanks for the hydrate, buddy. Marko with the Prism Walk. The Prism Walk has proven super OP in Blitz. It was kind of the bread and butter for the Allied player in the early Blitz days, 4 months ago, when the game was created. It was kind of the only thing Allied had going for him, and then since then people had kind of obviously developed past that. But Prism Tower Walk is still OP, but we haven't seen it that much lately, and we're seeing it in real time. And Marko reminding us that the Prism Tower Walk is very strong and something that should be certainly in your arsenal. So Luke now building Desos and Flak Troopers. Flak Troopers and Desos and Rhinos. Okay. How are we doing on economy? Both players sitting at about 4K. That's nice for this point in the game. Another Prism Tower from Marko. And this is strong for Allied. Resist early on. Battle Lab out now for Marko already. And as the Soviet player, if you're not able to get something done before the Battle Lab, you're going to have a very difficult battle versus the Allied player. Prism Walk coming in. Oh, going to get a big chain reaction here. At least 3 oils. Oh, okay. Spoke too soon. Only got 1 oil. Not so bad. The Flak Troopers to counter the Rockies. Very interesting. The crater in the middle heals units. Yeah, it heals based on proximity. Oh god, this Prism Walk. And Luke just kind of ignoring the Prism Walk. Luke's only on 3K, like he can't... I mean, if he had 20K, it's like, sure, give up that extension. But, so Luke's answer to the bottom here is going to be a Kirov. This Kirov actually could do some work. And Luke doing a good job of controlling the higher ground. A lot of Desos in that group to try to counter the Mirages nicely. So this Kirov coming in, and this Kirov might be right in time. He needed to slow down this Prism Walk, and he should be able to do that. So takes out the power plant, takes out a Prism. Yep, I'm going to go after the macro, the primary buildings. Then the Prism Towers obviously can't be built off of themselves. Oh, does put Marko low power as well. And that was a really beautiful counter. Very ninja-like move from Luke. Calm, cool, and collect. Oh, he wanted to push on those Prism Towers while they were low power. But Marko got his power back online nicely. And now Luke a bit on the run. Going to fall behind these Desos. Marko sees the Desos coming. Man, Marko's quick. Saw those Desos coming, pulled his troops back. That Kirov was a great move. The exact thing Luke needed there. Perfect counterpunch. As you see the Battle Labs coming. Obviously, Battle Lab from Allied, Soviet has to counter that with the Iron Curtain. So Luke was able to buy himself some time, cutting off that base walk. And now Luke out with his Iron Curtain. Iron Curtain coming now in about 5 seconds. And Luke needs to really consider his targets here. This Iron Curtain is exactly what Luke needs to swing the momentum back in his favor here. Although, now that you look at the map, without that base walk from Marko, I don't think there's anything saying that the momentum's not in Luke's favor at the moment. So Luke going to push in here. Does he go for the army? Does he go for buildings? What's he clicking here? Clicking some power plants. Oh, force shields the battle lab. Takes the AFC. Doesn't have much. And then, not a particularly valuable. Not an incredible, Iron Curtain. We got an AFK Kurov on the bottom side. So I actually like these flak troopers from Luke. I don't think we've seen it before, to be honest. And I think it's nice, like in Blitz, infantry units in Blitz get a lot more mileage because of the small map. They don't have to walk as far. So they can join the battle right away. So instead of having to waste time building flak tracks, he's building flak troopers so he can continuously spam the rhinos. And you see how quickly the flak troopers are on the front line in seconds. So I actually like the flak trooper move. I think that's pretty heads up. It's a big move, and like I said, we haven't really seen it before. Rocky's on the top side. Luke needs to counter that. Obviously doesn't want to be giving up a war factory to 3 Rockies. Is very unfortunate. Look at that elite flak trooper doing work. Oh, he gets sniped out. There are snipers in those BFs, which are going to clean up those flak troopers, though. And Luke refusing to counter on the top side. I guess he's got his hands full, but builds a sentry gun up there. Maybe meant to build a flak cannon. Hard to say, but those Rockies on the top side now have taken out 2 war factories. We have an elite BF on the bottom side. It does get cornered. Not going to be able to make it out. So now Luke able to use that IC to counter those BFs. Flat cannon on the top side finally, but man, Marko got 2 war factories with those 3 Rockies. Ooh, okay, so now I'd like to see Luke out now with an industrial plant. Luke on 12K. But man, those 2 war factories, that was a big hit there. It's hard to appreciate that. Marko took out 2 war factories with 3 Rockies, and that's going to significantly slow down his Rocky production. And Luke now going for a bit of a base trade here. I think he would have liked his IC timer to be a bit lower before he made this move. Maybe a bit premature. Maybe just trying to buy himself some time. He did force Marko to pull back his own attack. So what do we got here? Both players with tons of money, so money's no obligation at this point. Both players need to be spamming on all 4 tabs. I'd like to see Marko maybe redo a base walk if he can, but Marko up with that higher ground. Those BFs with the higher ground is absolutely devastating. So IC out now, Marko on the run. Luke gonna push. Luke gonna see what he can get done here, targeting the BFs, and Luke out now with a naval yard as well, as we do hit the 2-minute warning, guys. For those of you unfamiliar, if the 2-minute timer goes up, we're gonna come down to points. Points to see who takes home this one. So Luke able to get quite a bit done with those rhinos. 2 elite rhinos. Oh my god. But Marko's on the top side now with 2 BFs and a bunch of GIs, and is going to get the Iron Curtain. Whoa. Marko doesn't get that. Oh, Luke saves the Iron Curtain. Marko didn't target that Iron Curtain for some reason. I'm not sure what happened there. Dreadnought on the bottom side now, and so now again, and we saw it last time, Luke was able to pull home a win with the naval yard, and he might be doing it again here, ladies and gentlemen. We are, the timer, we got about 2 minutes left in this game. Both players, I don't think, should be comfortable with it coming down to points. Both players want to take this one home, but gonna be difficult to do in the next minute and a half. Luke tries to take a big bite on the top side, pushing through a couple prism towers as Marko's army is a bit out of position. Luke probably just trying to get pressure off of his dreadnoughts to try to get a shot through here. Trying to target the MCV, it looks like. Going to be very difficult. Luke's got a lot of bruised rhinos here. A lot of bruised rhinos. But, oh, the Iron Curtain just in time. And I don't know if Marko saw that one coming. Marko quits out as the dreadnoughts and the rhinos storm through. Oh my god. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh my goodness. Balf in the house? Balf, I'm glad you're not missing this one, man. I was just thinking, I'm like, I hope Balf isn't missing this match. You know, Balf's the kind of guy who would really appreciate this match. That's what I was thinking.
Yo,
Snark.
how's it going, man?
Going good, man. Going good. Dude, sick matches. I'm excited. I'm up early, man. I fell asleep. I went to sleep 4 hours ago. I'm up about 6 hours early. Um, but, man, what a match. What a match.
Oh wow, my ping looks like crap.
Oh,
Uh,
God, Snark.
Give me a second here. Which tunnel are you on?
FCEU, bro. You know how we do around here.
FCEU. All right, give me a second here. God, I hope I'm not having connection issues again. I've been on for the past like 5 hours, no issues, so should be okay, hopefully. Give me a quick second.
All right, Snark. Come on. These guys got momentum, man. It's 2-2. What are we doing? Talk to me. What are we doing about this ping? Red ping? What are we at? 931, Snark?
Well, first of all, the fact that you can hear me is a good sign. Am I sounding robotic?
No, you sound good. Yeah, not killing that IC was big. That paradrop was AFK for a second, and that IC then came through huge to clean out that army. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure what Marco is doing there. Oh yeah, okay, hold on. Oh, we're on game number 5 now, so we are back to Soviet versus Soviet. Marco. Marco says, "Nice ping, Snark. Thanks for coming."
Oh God. Uh, hmm. Interesting.
Oh, now you're at full
All right.
ping.
Yeah, ping back up.
I like how you're like kind of pretending like you
Fascinating
were doing
stuff going up.
something, and I know you just got lucky and did nothing, and it fixed itself.
What are you talking about?
Uh-huh.
I did a speed test and was shit, and then it came back up, so it's all good.
All right. Let's hit it. Let's hit
Ah
it.
man, 2-2, crazy matchup here. We're gonna go SVS. We're back to that matchup. I mean, we're giving 2 minutes to Luke in Finland here.
Oh
So
God,
we are giving him
now you are a bit robotic, Snark. Oh wait,
now I'm robotic.
no, you were
Can I? I'm gonna direct. Let me direct call you, all right, instead of this.
Yeah.
Depending on where you put your server at, like where its server is, it
All right.
can be problematic for me. All right, here we go. Game number 5. What are we thinking, Ivor? 2-2 looking strong. He's got the practice. He's got the reps. Marko, the goat here. It's going nuts. It's going crazy.
Yep.
Got SV.
Yeah, and I think we are really seeing we're seeing a top level player. I mean, Luke's a top level player. We're seeing a top level player like Luke who's more familiar with Blitz, and we're seeing Marco a fundamentally traditionally better player in every sense across the board who is just a little bit less familiar. But what's great though is that Luke is leveraging that. Like Luke has he's not winning these by smashing tanks into tanks. He's in both points he's won. He's actually made a naval push late game and won with that. So I like that from Luke. He's mixing things up. He's getting creative, staying alive long enough to create those opportunities, obviously, which is difficult. But Soviet versus Soviets, I think the place where he's going to have the hardest time. Marco looked really, really tough here, and we do have some lag.
It's like I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave.
And Snark lagging down game number 5. All right, Snark's out.
Yeah, I'm gonna head off. I don't know what's going on here. I'll try and fix it. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Snark. All right, guys. So we are back at it now here. Luke in with some early rhinos again. We saw this exact same scenario last Soviet versus Soviet. So now the difference this time was that he did get the War Factory. So this time he did get the War Factory. So exact same exchange last time. Marco went early economy. Luke went early rhinos. And last time Marco was able to resist the early push and then obviously make a comeback. This time that could be more difficult. And Marco says, GG. Yeah, so pretty much the exact same thing that happened last time, but uh, last time Luke was not able to successfully ult the War Factory. So that was the difference. The time, like I said, almost the exact same thing last time, but Luke's ulting the War Factory did not destroy the War Factory. That time Marko obviously lost the War Factory. Whoops.
Battle control terminated.
All right, so now we go Allied versus Allied, game number 6 here. Two oils first. Yeah, it's tricky. The meta definitely changes on that a little bit. But like I said, I mean, Marko had that same strategy last time. It was just the difference of the ulting the War Factory worked. All right, so now Allied versus Allied. Marko on the left, Luke on the right. So now Luke able to pull ahead with that quick little win, Soviet versus Soviet there. I appreciate Marko not getting tilted and yelling at me about Snark's lag. It was very minor. It was only the very beginning of that game, but obviously in a very tight match like this, it's always frustrating to have something like that happen. So hats off to both players for not yelling at me. I hate getting yelled at, man. I really, really do. There's a Kurt Vonnegut quote. He says, "What do guys want? Guys just want to have more buddies, and they want less people to be mad at them." And that's really it, man. Guys are simple. We just want friends. We don't want anyone to be mad at us. We don't want anyone to be mad at us. Quick shout out about people being nice to us. If you want to hop over to my YouTube, hit a like and subscribe. I'd love it. We're on the final stretch to 1,000 subs. We're already at like 650. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the sub. Free for you. Helps me tremendously. Helps me grow the content. All right. Here we are, Allied versus Allied. Marko with more GIs. And again, we see Luke pushing that bottom side. Going to try to take that power plant. Marko might... I wonder if Marko just destroys the power plant here. Yep. Yeah, so Marko's just going to destroy the power plant. Sniper out now from Luke. Yep, so sniper from Luke to counter those GIs. Nice move, but man, isn't that amazing? Marko, he's just like, as the sniper comes out, Marko's already retreating the GIs. Man, he's quick. Okay, so Luke now pushing in here. Luke with the higher ground, but no anti-air in this group. Luke with a slight tank advantage, but Marko running the rodeo. Rodeo opening here as we see the Eagles, Rockies, and Grizzlies. All three difficult to manage, both micro-wise on the field, but also difficult to manage financially. Can put yourself in a tight spot. But able to control the field right now with it. Rockies, GIs, Grizzlies, and Eagles. What's the target for 2 Eagles right now? Oh, Patriot Missile and 2 IFVs. Unfortunate, does lose an Eagle there. That's what we talked about, that early economy. You look at both players bottoming out as you know, Luke bringing a similar opening as well, also managing the Rockies, Eagles, and Grizzlies, and both players just going to go broke for it. Very difficult, very difficult. Imagination 7. So 2 Eagle. Whoa. Ah, it does get the AFC. Okay. So that's what, you know, that's what it's all about. Allied versus Allied, AFC Wars. AFC Wars is huge. Allied versus Allied. First player to snipe the other person's AFC. Now, I don't know. Marko just has to... Wait, am I mixing up? Oh, no, I'm not. Never mind. Sorry, I thought I had the players mixed up. Yeah, sniping the other player's AFC is big. Early game, obviously, the AFC is the juicer for the Allied player. Allows them to be able to keep building the Rockies, the Eagles. So, sniping that was big, but Marko did... Or Luke did bounce back quickly there. Sorry, guys. Really early in the morning, like my brain, my bandwidth is running thin here. Like I said, it's 7 a.m. for me. I normally wake up at about 5 hours later than this. I usually go to sleep at 4 a.m. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Marko with a significant Rocky lead here. Both players very similar, actually. So Luke able to get up there and snipe that power plant. Marko's got a couple Eagles hovering topside, looking for a target. Looking for a target. Yeah, both players just kind of sitting back now, so very similar. They got their battle labs. Wait, Marko has as a Nighthawk out. I almost forgot the name of that unit. We see a Nighthawk from Marko. Could be a accidental misclick. Could be a very clever ploy that I can't question, because I don't question Marko. I don't question the GOAT. All right, so a lot of IFVs in that group. Those Rockies in a bad spot, but the Eagles able to get behind. Oh, and I don't know. I think he could have taken this oil. Probably got a bigger chain reaction. But able to get in there and snipe an oil, trying to knock down that economy. Good look from Luke. Luke with 2 AFCs now, so 8 Eagles. That's going to be pretty problematic if... oh, Marko counters with his own. Second AFC out now from Marko. So Marko going to push in with the Grizzlies. Oh, just kind of bum rushes the tech tanks there. But Luke able to counter, get some Rockies in there as well. So right now, Luke doesn't have any Prism tanks or Mirages, which is an issue. 8 Eagles, what's... Oh. Man, and we've seen it time and time again from Luke. He's down, he's looking down, he's losing momentum, and then a massive counter punch downfield. Paradrop on the left side, paradrop on the left side. Luke's going to be able to get this Battle Lab. Luke's got an AFK paradrop on the left side that could take out the Battle Lab. Marko wouldn't have a Battle Lab or a MCV, but Luke's a little too busy right now on the front lines getting attacked, trying to stay alive, which I think he will be able to do. And if he can resist this attack from Marko, ooh, and the Prism tank's cleaning up. Nice micro there from Luke. And Marko in a tough spot. Marko in a very, very tough spot. Yeah, I don't think Marko has much of an answer here. Yeah, he's forced to make a desperate push here. Not going to be enough. And so Luke pulls ahead 4-2. 4-2 now for Luke. And, yeah, 4-2. So now Marko gets Soviet. It is best of 9. So this is match point. If Luke can take this, it'll end it. Imagination 7, send your channel there to subs. I have a... Yeah, send your channel. That'd be great. Send the channel everywhere, man. Appreciate it. Marko gets Soviet now. No worries, pal. Mink, I love the Star Wars references, man. I want you to know that just because I'm not acknowledging them, I want you to know I appreciate the Star Wars references, and I think you should continue them throughout the tournament, assuming Luke makes it on. All right. Here we go, Allied versus Soviet now. Marko with his Soviet pick, 4-2. Yeah, very, very tight. Very, very tight. Kind of unfortunate that last Soviet versus Soviet match. Kind of an unfortunate quick little tilt there that Luke picked up that win in 10 seconds. And that really helped shifted the momentum there. Carried it through that next point. Looked really, really tough that last point. And I talked about it in the first point. And Luke coming in with the early GIs here. And we haven't seen this yet from these players, but the early GIs are certainly an option on this map. Honestly, through Division 1, 2, and 3, early GIs were kind of everything. We've seen less of it at the top level. Obviously, easier for these guys to counter. But so Marko waypointing Rhinos directly into his base. Wow. Yeah, so Marko, ooh, and the GIs, and Luke had a nice spread on those GIs, able to get some damage jump, but now Marko can hop in that crater and juice up. Nice. So, yeah, Marko going to try to get the early Rhino push here. And again, we see the Frankenstein from Luke. This defending himself with straight Grizzlies. This did not work out for Luke last time. Luke did lose this engagement. Wait, did he? He actually might have had some radical comeback with aircraft carriers. I forget. All right, the Rhinos are in. Snipe a power plant, now back out. No flak track, no anti-air. Might just continue to push here. And Luke is kind of giving up some buildings, maybe too many buildings, but doesn't have the Grizzlies to engage, so he's kind of forced to sacrifice the buildings. Marko's going to snipe that oil. Ooh, if Luke doesn't move his Grizzlies. Okay, so Luke's able to get his Grizzlies out of the blast zone there. but Luke is going to lose the Grizzlies, and Marko is ignoring the flak. He's ignoring the Rockies. He's just going to keep spamming Rhinos, keep shoving it down Luke's throat right now, keep the pressure on. As I say that, he does bounce back to the crater, juice up a little bit. Now a flak track out to deal with that Rocky. Oh, Marko saw that Rocky get vet, did not want that Rocky to become an elite. That would have been unfortunate. Marko now joining in with some fodder in the group and going to continue his push, throws the dogs out in front. Paradrop from Luke. Nice placement. Marko needs to get away from that paradrop now. Marko could go up to the MCV, but instead decided to take this one head on. And I love that from Marko. You know, being down on momentum there. I love that Marko came out that point and just put it down. Just Rhinos straight down his throat. Didn't let Luke breathe. And I love that there too. Like, Marko could have bounced out, bounced back. He could have gone up to the MCV, and instead he chose to just pummel the tanks, smash himself into it, prove himself and the titles and the ranking that he has over Luke. Trying to show Luke what it's like to hang with the big boys here. All right, 4-3. 4-3. Luke now with Soviet, Marko with Allied. Ed, yeah, I think that's right. Like we talked about, yeah, Luke's experience with Blitz is certainly coming in, and Luke's, and that's the thing too, is that some of these points Luke's won. I mean, he's reaching deep in his bag of tricks. Like he's pulling. I mean, two wins for Luke or late naval pushes. So Luke's having to really pull out all the stops right now, and it was interesting to see there when it comes down to just raw tanks in the face. You know, Marko obviously coming out handedly there, but Allied versus Soviet's always difficult. All right, so now Marko with Allied, and we'll see if Luke, you know, that's what I love about Blitz, you know, so the Rhinos come shoving down Luke's throat, and you know Luke is like, man, Soviet OP, Rhinos OP, but now he gets it. Now it's him. Now it's Soviet versus Allied here. And does Luke do the same thing? Does Luke decide just to spam Rhinos and try to shove them directly down his throat? We'll see. We'll see. Marko out with just a few GIs, a bit of an anti-scout or something. A GGI now. GGIs to defend. Defending himself with GGIs could be interesting. And we are going to see it here. The early Rhino is just going to be shoving straight in from Luke. As both players build towards the bottom, we're going to have a quick engagement here. A bit scary for the Allied player to be building towards the Soviet player if the Soviet player is also building towards you. Marko trying to control the crater a little bit here. Playing off that center, bringing out some early dog fodder. And so again, Luke's able to get that power plant, and for Soviet, man, Soviet, when you take that power plant, you got your 5 oils, you don't have to build another power plant, so now you got another quick war factory coming, and man, the Rhinos start pouring out quick, and the Allied player can get himself in a really unfortunate situation. So, oh, Marko going to bring out Prism Towers to defend. I like that move. The early AFC, how's Marko's economy? Okay, he's not bottoming out. He's on 5 oils. Luke brings out a radar. And I think Luke's going to push here. Yeah, so Luke is going to push. Questioning himself a little bit. Marko throws that fodder out. Marko just going to keep spamming those Prism Towers. And Marko's economy, this is beautiful. Early game like this. If you can balance right at 1,000, as long as you're not bottoming out and you're producing what you need, that's totally fine. You don't need more than that early game. You don't want to waste time building anything else. And so he's able to snipe that power plant. Oh, and Luke just comes out with a battle lab too, so Luke is almost certainly low power right now. Marko needs to resist this push here, and then possibly try to make a bit of a Desolator out, but I think there's a sniper in that IFV, or at least I hope there is. Yep, sniper in the IFV. So Luke's got to be pretty low power right now. Okay, so Luke brings out the nuclear reactor, so now Luke's power's back up. Marko's in a bad spot with that higher ground. Luke's able to really harass him up from the cliff, but Marko baits him in and then jumps up. The Prism Tower's helping a little bit. The Rockies join in, but again, we see the Flak Troopers from Luke. Flak Troopers doing work. Marko in a tough spot. No War Factory now. Marko was able to get his Battle Lab out, but wasn't able to get anything pumping from the War Factory. And Marko got one Mirage out. Unfortunately, that's not going to be enough. And Marko Prism Tower out. We'd have to see a bit of a blunder here from Luke. Tries to target the MCV. Oh my god, Marko might save the MCV. Oh my god. So Marko hanging on by the skin of his teeth right now. Marko on 10k. So no Eagles from Marko. So I'd like to see the Eagles are what need to be. If the Eagles were making swoops right now, if we had 4 Eagles sniping buildings, this would be a very, very different situation right now. Marko is staying alive, but there's no counterpunch. And a player like Luke, you don't counterpunch him, you don't smack him around a little bit. He's just going to keep pulling ahead, keep pulling ahead. Boris now on the field, going to try to use that higher ground to maybe try to snipe out some of these prism towers. Oh yeah, Iron Curtain coming now. Oh, able to snipe out that Boris, but the Iron Curtain is going to swing this heavily. And a Kirov out now. Man, Marko's putting up a fight right now. What an absolute battle. I love this. But the Kirov coming. Iron Curtain now. Marko has to run. And now what does Luke do with it? Luke on 4 War Factories, though, but no anti-air in this group. And Luke does not get a lot done with that IC. That's exactly what Marko needed there. Forced him to use the IC defensively and then didn't get much done with it. But this Kirov's gonna really take out a lot of this bottom base extension, which has kind of been a crux for. Oh, not so bad actually. So that's not so bad. Does Marko have a sniper, an IFV sniper, to deal with these Desos? The Desos are gonna be very problematic here. A lot of Desos in that group. A lot of Rhinos. A lot of everything from Luke. And I think who called in the chat? I think we will see a naval here very shortly from Luke, and Luke could be bringing home another point with his Navy closing this out. Snipers out now to counter those Desos. A lot of Mirages. Without the Desos, the Mirages. Oh, and perfect timing as the last Deso goes down. The Mirages push in to try to clean out these Rhinos. Is there enough Mirages here? Man, Mirages melt Rhinos. The perfect counter. Throws in the snipers as fodder. I think the snipers took a couple of hits there too. Pro move. And Marko finally has Luke slightly on the run here. Gets a bit of momentum, but another Iron Curtain coming now. So Luke pulling back, waiting for that Iron Curtain. Here comes the Iron Curtain. Here comes the Iron Curtain. Here comes the Navy. Oh my goodness gracious. Marko putting up a fight, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough with the Navy and the Iron Curtain. It's a very, very tough spot. Marko sneaks in, calls his bluff for not shooting that IC a little bit earlier. But Luke, gets his tanks. Oh, and another wasted IC from Luke. But there's a Dreadnought in the water, ladies and gentlemen. And the Navy might be taking this one home again. Patriot missiles not countering as well as I'd like them to. Deso's trying to slow down. But Marko's got Mirage tanks and Prism tanks. Oh my god! How are we doing on time? Oh my god, we're only at 7 minutes. So we still got 4 or 5 minutes left in this game. This one's not coming down to the clock, ladies and gentlemen. We got ourselves a barn burner. Needs to get away from those Desos. Needs to get away from those Desos. Very, very unfortunate. That was not ideal. I would like to see Marko push on these. Take out the naval yard, maybe? I guess he's focused on these Rhinos. Oh, and the Rhinos push in. And those Desos did a lot of damage. That was a lot of bruised Mirages. Marko calls GG. Nice use of the Desos from Luke there. Wasn't enough. Marko hanging on, putting up incredible battle. Incredible battle. Yeah, I mean, what a fight. What a fight. What a fight.